Hello and thank you for joining us on Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. And do remember that you can follow this broadcast live on nta.ng/live and other social media handles displayed on the screen. And we begin from Saudi Arabia, where President Muhammadu Buhari has concluded a two-day spiritual reawakening enterprise in Medina with a guided tour of the holy sites that hold great significance in Islam. He made a strong case for futuristic as well as untainted global education on Islam. State House correspondent Adamu Musambu reports that special prayers were held for peace, unity and prosperity of Nigeria. Now, details of this report will be brought to you subsequently. In the meantime, Information and Culture Minister Lai Mohammed has challenged the reason for the call for his arrest and prosecution over his call for Labour Party presidential candidate and his running mate, Dati Baba Ahmed, to desist from hitting the polity and making inciting statements. Anthony Forsen reports.
Space has been awashed by a call for the Information and Culture Minister to be prosecuted for spewing fake news on Labour Party's presidential candidate in the 2023 presidential election. In a quick reaction, Lai Mohammed says he stands by his words.
What will be my offense? Because I said that the vice presidential candidate of the Labour Party, who said on live television that if the president-elect is sworn in on 29th of May, that will be the end of democracy in Nigeria. It's not fake news. He said it. And even when the moderator was trying to rein in me, he said, no, I want to repeat. This is what I mean. This is why I said this will be the end of democracy. The daddy who said it has not said he didn't say it. So what fake news then am I spreading? And this is not reasonable following for you to say that if the president-elect is sworn in, that will be the end of democracy in Nigeria. So I don't understand what I'm being charged for and what I'll be arrested for. What I'll be prosecuted for.
He insisted that the Labour Party presidential candidate and his running mate come out and debunk his position. In London, Anthony Forsen, NTA News.
And back home, Nigeria marks its maiden edition of the International Day for Street Children, celebrated globally. To reflect on the essence of the celebration, a solidarity walk was organized by the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development in collaboration with Young Ambassadors Against Drug Abuse Initiative to raise awareness for the protection of the rights of street children. Ruth Agwele reports.
I started begging because there was no shelter for me, and my mom was unable because she's not an educated woman. Because as a female child, we almost got trapped. Because to just help your family to get what you want, you can do anything. As a female
Aliya
child,
Muhammad
I want
sharing her story about her traumatic experience as a street child. Aliya is one out of many who daily go through one form of unimaginable hardship or the other on the street as a result of stark circumstances. In recognition of humanity, dignity, and defiance of street-connected children, the world today marks the International Street Children's Day. As a maiden edition in Nigeria, no better place to walk the talk than the streets where these children have lived and survived daily. The Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, in partnership with a non-governmental organization, is raising the bar by taking practical steps to take these children off the streets. For the children who have been lucky to have a new normal, like Aliyah, the outcry for them is to renew hope for the lost sheep.
It's a shame seeing my fellow street children don't go into school or don't have clothes to wear. I don't like it. I need the ones standing representing the president, all those to help our street children so that they can eat at least 2 times a day.
Building free schools so that they can be able to learn. And some of them, they should also create hospitals because some of them are really sick and they also should be given equal rights.
We have the alternate school program, which is already, we're about taking off. I mean, this is to bring them, include them in whatever we are doing, and then give them the special protection they desire.
Because they are vulnerable. So we want that change, and then we want Nigeria to have at least a data of how many children do we actually have. If you have a number, then we know where to start from.
The advocacy is to realign the future of this vulnerable group and change their bleakness to a prosperous future, no matter who they are and where they live. In Abuja, Ruth Aguwele, NTA News.
And with me now in the studio to shed more light on the International Day for Street Children is the Coordinator Street Children Parliament, Zainab Khalil. It's good to have you on Nationwide, Zainab.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as we all know, today marks a very important day for street children all over the world, and Nigeria, joined the global community today to mark the day for the first time with a road walk. Tell us, what is the initiative behind this?
Okay, over time, we have been celebrating this very special day. We come up with different programs so that we can amplify the voices of this vulnerable group. They are a vulnerable group because these are children who are abandoned in their vulnerabilities, they're neglected, they're victims of child trafficking, child labor, child abuse. So we felt, what better way can we do it rather than just coming out to speak about it and give them that voice. Let's work with a ministry that their mandate is to reach out to the most vulnerable group in the society. So we reached out to the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, and they welcomed the idea and decided to have this roadwork with us to raise awareness and to see how these children can benefit from the so many initiatives that the ministry has.
Okay, now inclusion for their voices to be heard is the advocacy, and some of the concerns for the children is shelter, healthcare and education. How can all this be achieved?
Well, this can be achieved through the so many laudable initiatives of the federal government. Before now, every government that comes on board has a different initiative, laudable initiatives, but over time, one of the issues we have is the issue of implementation. But I think for the very first time, I believe we're getting it right through the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, because this ministry has introduced what is known as the alternate school system. This is a form of formal education and informal education where these children will have the opportunity to have a form of literacy and numeracy, where we can work with their parents, where we can go to hard to reach areas, communities, and then you have a practical approach towards addressing their issue. Presently, the Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs under the alternate school system is building hubs that can take off these children off the streets, some of them to unite them with their families, while some of them, that hub will serve as a form of shelter for them, where they will also learn and also engage in sports and other activities. So it's a very laudable initiative, and I know that with the ministry, with the Minister, Hajia Sadia Umar Farouk, and the Permanent Secretary, so far what they have been able to achieve through the social investment program, this will be a different ball game. It's not just the normal initiatives that comes up and after a while we just forget about whatever it is that we started.
Okay, now so talking about taking these children off the streets, do you have the data of street children in Nigeria, and how can you collect this data in order to reach them and possibly take them out of the streets?
That is one of the basic problems we have in Nigeria. because UNICEF came up with a data stating that we have 13.5 children who are out of school. And we're just talking about out of school. That does not mean that that child in Ajegule or under the bridge in Oshodi was captured. And then as at 2022 October, UNESCO also came out with a figure saying that we have 20 children that are out of school. Now, the federal government is saying Nigeria will not take this thing about donor agencies coming up with data for us. So I think it's a wake-up call for Nigeria to say, okay, how many children do we actually have that are out of school, that are street-connected? Because the theme for this year is saying keeping street-connected children safe. How do you keep them safe if you don't have a data of how many children you have on the street? So it's about time that the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, the Federal Bureau of Statistics, and relevant stakeholders should come up with a data of how many children do we have in Nigeria, so that when you are addressing this issue, you know you have at least a number of people that you want to cater for.
Thank you very much indeed, Zainab Khalil, National Coordinator, Street Children Parliament. It's a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you very much. Now, moving on, Ekiti State University, Ado Ekiti, has suspended all academic activities for 2 weeks following protests of students over increase in school fees. Olukemi Sani has details.
The students who were carrying placards with different inscriptions are calling for reversal of the school fees, reopening of the portal without paying for late registration, as well as adequate funding and maintenance of the school.
We are protesting against extortion. 5K late payment registration fee. We don't want it again. School fees is increased by 100,000%. 100%. We don't want it. I was paying 134 before. Yes, now I am paying 255.
Giving us this issue for a very long time. We've pleaded with the school to do something about it. Well, according to what we are seeing as a student, it's like the school are not ready to do anything.
The state governor is aware of our agitations already. The national is aware of our agitations already. And all we are saying is that this is Ekiti State University. We are paying much already. We have departments that are paying as much as 300,000. We have departments that are paying as much as 700,000. Why do we need to pay late registration again?
Motorists rushing to resume work were held up in the traffic gridlock caused by the protesting students. Security agents were seen at strategic places along Iworoko Road to forestall any possible breakdown of law and order. Meanwhile, the institution, in a statement, directed suspension of academic activities, while all students are to vacate the campus with effect from Tuesday, April 11, 2023. In Ado Ekiti, Olukemi Sani, NTA News.
Let's now join Awal in Lagos for more reports on Nationwide. Hello, Awal.
Ranges from the ability to set agenda, national discourse, and capacity to push narratives that can engender peaceful coexistence. With its level of importance, it therefore behooves national media to be circumspect in the issues they disseminate for public consumption. This was the crux of discussion when the National Orientation Agency had an interface with different media outfits in Lagos State. Larry Millay has details.
From its primary function of electing the Nigerian populace, the need to foster a united Nigeria, the National Orientation Agency is holding this party with the media in Lagos. The engagement led by the Director General of the agency, Mr. Garba Abari, touched on the roles the media must play in reining in things, especially.
We're sorry about that. We have some issues with our Lagos Network Center. Now, moving on, Ekiti State government says it is positively disposed to all efforts geared towards ensuring a conducive atmosphere for the smooth conduct of the 2023 census. Governor Biodun Oyebanji disclosed this when he hosted the State Sensitization Committee on the 2023 Population and Housing Census at the Government House at Ekiti. Olubukola Aduwo has details.
Gathering was necessitated towards the successful first digital census in Nigeria, which provides an opportunity to engage the people of Ekiti State with the hope of getting their invaluable cooperation and support towards ensuring a successful conduct of an acceptable census come May this year. Governor Yebanji identified the importance of demographic data for development and planning concrete improvements in the living standards of the people of the state.
It's very important for us as individuals and collectively as a state to take the population exercise very seriously and for everyone to be patient with the enumerators as they visit us during the exercise.
In line with the United Nations principles for the 2022 round of population and housing censuses, the National Population Commission says the 2023 census, which has commenced with training of ad hoc staff aside other necessary arrangements, will fully digital, which will enhance data quality.
Beyond that, we have done the enumeration area demarcation in all the local government and LCPs of the state.
The stakeholders were optimistic that the summit will go a long way in strengthening collaboration with key stakeholders, engendering trust and confidence, as well as encouraging full participation of everyone for the success of the census. In Ado-Ekiti, Olubukola Aduwo, NTA News.
Population Commission is fine-tuning for a successful 2023 population and housing census coming up next month. Maureen Leo Ajom reports that this is so as the Commission inaugurated Census Publicity, Security and Logistics Committee for the exercise in Cross River.
It's less than 1 month to the conduct of the 2023 population and housing census. The Commission in Cross River State is putting finishing touches to ensure a hitch-free and smooth conduct of the proposed digital population census. In this regard, the Commission is engaging relevant stakeholders for the pre and during the head count. The committee inaugurated is that of publicity, security and logistics to sensitize and mobilize the people for the exercise.
Commitment to the National Population Commission is that we will launch out massive publicity, massive sensitization, as build up to the census 2023.
National Population Commission is built to conduct a digital census, and for us to succeed and get credible and acceptable data, the Commission has done a lot of things. Finished the pre-census activities of enumeration, finished testing of the instruments and methodology. We've also done 70 to 80% of capacity building training for the functionaries.
The inauguration ceremony also afforded the stakeholders opportunity to interact for a successful headcount next month. In Calabar, Maureen Leo Ajom, NTA News.
Let's now pause to take some messages or reports in a moment. Do stay.
In Enugu, there are early warning signs that Abuja may experience more intensive flood this season. The manifest signs have accompanied the early rains, and residents of the commercial city are worried. Grace Nana has the situation report.
Dumping of refuse in drainages, building on natural flood channels, and evacuation of the silted debris have combined to compound the flood in the city. For some residents of Abuja, there is need to fashion out better ways of managing both illegal construction of waterways, domestic and industrial waste, or else flooding will remain a problem in the city.
This flood has been on this road for years, since around 1983, and this flood has caused some many damages.
Discipline of inculcating into the people whose job it is to evacuate whatever comes out of the gutter has not been as effective as it is. But then that should not discourage distilling the gutter.
Rain for almost 5 minutes, everywhere full of water. So we are suffering too much because of this road.
Aba-Ikotek-Bene Road, where NTA Aba premises is located, is not spared from flooding. posing a challenge not only to health, but to both vehicular and pedestrians movements.
They pose a big threat to even the inhabitants of this area. The flooding has been too much.
With the NIMET's prediction of flooding in the state, relevant authorities are being urged to, as a matter of urgency, look into the challenge of flooding confronting the city to save lives and property. Advocacy is also high for residents to desilt their drains and desist indiscriminate dumping of refuse, so the issue of flooding in the city will be tackled once and for all. In Aba, Grace Nana, NTA News.
Meanwhile, the Enugu State House of Assembly has approved requests to offset the domestic debt of the state from the outstanding 60%. Chimaroke Ugu reports that the approval was made following the requests by Governor Ifeanyi Ugwuani.
The legislators who converged for an emergency plenary to receive a message from the governor unanimously approved the request to authorize the federal government to offset domestic debt liabilities from the outstanding 60% refund due to the state.
Reduction of 5% backlog of stamp duties from January 2015 to December 2022 accrued to the state as consultancy fee as in the resolution passed by the State House of Assembly is hereby.
The leader of the House said the balance from ECA and PPT after the deduction of 5% consultancy fee would help the state carry out more developmental projects.
This reform will no doubt enhance the financial profile of the state.
Legislators applauded the state's executive council for coming up with the initiative of ensuring that the state is not indebted to any institution nationally.
What we are saying here is Enugu state money handling somewhere. If I understand it properly, is just like bank will ordinarily deduct certain amounts of money from your banks without necessarily taking due diligence in doing that.
What I know is that something is accruable to the state, and that's the plus.
The Deputy Speaker, who presided over the plenary, commended his colleagues for being thorough in their submissions. In Enugu, Chimaroke Ugu, NTA News.
And that's a package from here. He's back to Ifeoma in Abuja for more reports on Nationwide.
Thank you very much, Comfort. Now, true growth and national development is achievable when a country has viable national database. This explains why some Nigerians residents in Uyo are making preparations towards the success of the 2023 National Housing and Population Census. Clemens Barukuyi has details.
Over the years, the Nigerian government has continued to spread development across states of the Federation using the 2006 database, which pegs Nigeria's population at 140 million, a figure that the United Nations disagrees with, estimating Nigeria's population to be well above 200 million people. The 2023 National Housing and Population Census is therefore to further assist government in its development plans for the citizens.
The beauty of census taking is that we are coming to you in your house. We are not waiting at a place for you to come to us, maybe a primary school or village square. No.
With a couple of weeks to the 2023 National Housing and Population Census, stakeholders say citizens cannot shy away from supporting government to produce a viable national database.
We expect the people to remain at home. We expect the people to cooperate with our enumerators. We expect the people to allow our people to have access to them.
You see, when you say development does not come to my place, what was your census figure? Did you participate?
Having census in this country is a very good one.
I'll make myself available because it is important.
A lot of investment to make this census success. So I have that conviction that is going to take place.
And I'm sure that my family and every other person will be able to enroll in the census as well.
One thing is sure among these Nigerians, The upcoming census will be better than the 2006 census, giving government huge investment in it and the preparedness of the National Population Commission. In Uyo, Clement Barikui, NTA News.
The federal government has officially inaugurated the broadcast studio of the National Science, Technology and Innovation Television. Minister of Science, Technology and Innovation, Dr. Adeleke Mamora, who performed the inauguration, says the sole vision of the television is to ensure effective dissemination of information on scientific, technology and innovation. He adds that the station will serve as a veritable platform to inform, educate and entertain, as well as publicize scientific discoveries, inventions and achievements of the various parastatals under the ministry.
Science, Television and Innovation Television will also focus on Nigeria's contribution to science and technology by publishing latest research outputs and products, and will also cover the latest STI developments from around the world. I am confident that the commissioning of this STI television today will be a game changer for Nigerians, and it will enable the citizens to appreciate the relevance and importance of STI in nation building.
The television station is terrestrial, satellite and internet-based science over-the-top television channel dedicated to knowledge dissemination in multilingual languages, English, Igbo, Hausa and Yoruba. The Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute positioned the building for the TV studio in the premises of the National Space Research and Development Agency. The National Population Commission has postponed the local government area level training of supervisors and enumerators for the 2023 census, earlier scheduled to commence Thursday, 13th April 2023. In a statement, the Commission's Director of Public Affairs, Dr. Isiaka Yahaya, notes that the postponement is as a result of emerging issues, with a pledge that a new date will be communicated to the public. We now join Jenny in our Port Harcourt Network Center for more on Nationwide. Hello, Jenny.
Good evening. The rapid increase in urbanization in the city of Port Harcourt, Rivers State, has led to incidents of flooding in some parts of the state, as available drainage channels can no longer withstand the volume of water due to indiscriminate dumping of refuse in the canals. Chideberonya reports on the effect of blocked drainages as the rains intensify.
Our drainage system is an essential infrastructure built to dispose liquid waste or excess water in order to prevent erosion and flooding. Most drains meant to channel flood to designated spots are blocked with refuse of all sorts, ranging from plastic waste, water sachet, to overgrown weeds. This worrisome development, respondents say, could be addressed if proper desilting are carried out by residents and relevant authorities.
State government is also trying to see that this state becomes the #1 state in Nigeria. Recently, we find out that the state government is trying to close up the drainage because of the manner at which the people around this area do dump their waste. Most of the times they will want to heap it to wait for when it is raining, so they can now pour it in the drainage, and it litters the whole road around the environment we are living, and it causes nuisance.
People think that the smart ways of disposing their waste is to empty the trash cans or whatever into the drains, expecting the water to move it to wherever the water wishes to. And the process of that sits up the drains, thereby reducing their capacity to hold storm water.
Observers noted that the worst effect of blocked drains or failure to address this challenge reduces the lifespan and durability of constructed road networks, as well as serious environmental impacts.
Drains in this area, you see that you have a lot of flood, and the causes is ranging from the gutter not being wide, and secondly, non-maintenance of the existing drainage.
As the rains gradually set in, it is expected that residents would learn from past flood incidents and make necessary amends. In Port Harcourt, Chidiebere Onyia, NTA News.
In furtherance of its efforts in tackling insecurity in the nation's waterways, the Nigerian Navy has reassured of renewed strategy to combat sea piracy and other crimes for the safety of the maritime domain. These assurances were given during the ceremony by the outgoing flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Olushola, who has just assumed duty at the headquarters of the command in Calabar. Reports.
The task of protecting the nation's maritime space rests on the shoulders of the Nigerian Navy. With the numerous challenges encountered during operations, the outgoing flag officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, Rear Admiral Ibrahim Dewo, urged officers not to be deterred, but continue in the fight to mitigate maritime crimes. He, however, highlighted the achievement of the command under his watch, noting that 26 vessels engaged in illegal activities, among other achievements.
Other achievements include the activation of about 294 illegal refining sites and still counting, destruction and evacuation of illegally refined AGO, DPK and crude oil.
While assuring of renewed strategy to tackle crimes, the incoming FOC urged personnel to sustain a balanced force capable of discharging their roles effectively.
I would also most especially want to thank the Chief of Naval Staff, Vice Admiral Anwar Zubair Kambo. I must remain eternally grateful for him for the privilege he has given me this morning. I promise by the grace of the Almighty God that I will not let down the confidence reposed in me.
Rear Admiral Olushola Oluwagbire is the 45th Flag Officer commanding Eastern Naval Command, who until his recent appointment was Director Operations, Naval Headquarters, while the outgoing FOC is now the Director of Project Implementation, Monitoring and Evaluation at the Naval Headquarters. In Calabar, Udwak Etam, NTA News.
And that's it from here. Nationwide will continue in Sokoto after this break.
Thank you for joining us in Sokoto on Nationwide. Members of the Publicity Committee for 2023 National Housing and Population Census Sokoto State have been tasked to work tirelessly towards achieving the set objectives. Sokoto State Deputy Governor, who is also chairman of the committee, Muhammad Dania, gave the charge while inaugurating the committee in Sokoto. Ali Muhammad details.
This is the formal decoration of Sokoto State Deputy Governor Munir Muhammad Dania as chairman of the Publicity Committee and ambassador 2023 National Population and Housing Census, Sokoto State. The 20-man committee, drawn from all walks of life, has its term of reference to include public enlightenment and education and soliciting support, advocacy visits, promoting institutional collaboration, among others, as everyone knows the boundaries of Sokoto State is in dire need of information on why the census has been conducted. Inaugurating the committee, Deputy Governor of Sokoto State and Chairman of the Publicity Committee, Munir Muhammad Dania, described it as collective efforts. He therefore urged the committee members to work towards the success of the exercise.
The conduct of 2023 population and housing census is a top priority born out of the desire to lasting legacy of evidence-based planning for sustainable development.
The Federal Commissioner, National Population Commission, Sokoto Office, Tisa Abdullahi Tijo, represented by Director State Training, Abubakar Mayakwedo Gondaji, said the committee is expected to create wide publicity about the census, adding that all the procedures in this year's census would be digital.
Digital in the sense,
Virtually everything is going to be electronic. We'll use PDAs, tablets, etc., for every activity of the census, from the demarcation down to the enumeration of parcels.
The State Census Director, represented by Head of Civic Registration of the Commission, Jibril Musa, described census as key to national development. The committee members comprise of heads of media houses in Sokoto, NUJ chairman, labor union, religious leaders, and civil society organizations. In Sokoto, Ali NTA News.
Zamfara State Command of the Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps has arrested 3 suspects who specialize in printing and selling of fake naira and US dollar notes. The suspects were paraded before newsmen at the command headquarters in Gusau. Halil Muhammad has more.
The suspects were arrested following their attempt to pay transport fare to a tricycle operator with a fake 1,000 naira note. According to the Zamfara State NSCDC Public Relations Officer Uche Oko, the tricycle operator had easily identified the fake naira note and raised an alarm that eventually led to the arrest of the suspects.
During the preliminary investigations, Kamal Usani confessed to the crime of using the fake currency for transactions in Tafe local government and Gusau local government for the past 1 year.
Uche Oko added that Kamal Usani introduced by one Ado Gurgu, both from Safi local government area of the state. The command's spokesman said Kamal Usani further confessed that Ado Gurgu took him to one Muazu Abdul Karim of Kotorkoshi village, who usually supplies the fake currency.
Kamal Usani said he do pay the sum of 400 naira for every fake 1,000 naira notes he collects from Muazu Abdul Karim.
The fake currencies recovered from the suspects include 60,000 naira notes and $2,600, equivalent to 1,924,000 naira.
Members of the public are therefore advised to be vigilant, careful, and be careful with who they do transactions with, the kind of money they receive, where they go to, and how they go about their unlawful businesses.
Meanwhile, the command has vowed to prosecute the suspects upon completion, as it expressed determination that more criminal elements are brought to justice. In Gusau, Khalil Muhammad, NTA News.
Do not forget to follow this news broadcast live on our website nta.ng/live and all other social media handles displayed on your screens for updates. It's now back to Ifoma in Abuja for the continuation of the news.
Thank you, Asmao. We now bring you details of the President's engagements in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where we told you that President Muhammadu Buhari has concluded a 2-day spiritual reawakening enterprise in Medina. Damusambu will give us the details now.
It has been 2 days of intensive prayers and thanksgiving to Allah by President Muhammadu Buhari in the Mosque of the Holy Prophet Muhammad in Medina. The President and members of his delegation, comprising traditional rulers and religious leaders, observed all the prayers at Rauda, a place of immense spiritual and historical significance, where one prayer is equal in reward of 1,000 prayers elsewhere.
It is very significant being the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to come here and worship Allah and also pray for the nation, and also to be grateful to the Almighty for the privilege to be the President of Nigeria for almost 8 years now, and also to be thankful to the Almighty for all the successes he has recorded within that period of time.
President Buhari and his delegation were then guided on tour of the specialized Medina Museum. It provides a comprehensive cultural overview of the Prophet, his noble manners, great morals, and flexible teachings in a distinct scientific and research-based approach. The President commended Saudi authorities for deploying latest technologies to preserve and present Islam in its true and pure image. Better understanding of the religion away from its misconstrued teachings and perceptions, he said, is critical towards achieving global peace, harmony, and progress.
The museum summarizes the entire life of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings of Allah be upon him, everything about him, his family, what he used to eat, the cloth he used to wear, and everything. So it is indeed an interesting area, and one interesting aspect, everything has been digitalized. And look at even his words after the visit. He said he had never anticipated that we reached this level of technological advancement in Saudi Arabia. The first lesson we learned that Islam promotes peace. Secondly, unity. Look at how people are united, worshipping the same Almighty Allah, irrespective of where they come from.
President Buhari is scheduled to arrive Mecca in the early hours of Thursday to perform the Lesser Hajj. From Medina, Adamu Sambo, NTA News.
The holy month of Ramadan is described by Muslim scholars as a month full of mercy and forgiveness of sins. Hakimat Aliyu in this report highlights the significance of the last 10 days of Ramadan and examines how best Muslim faithful can maximize the benefits that abound.
Days of the month of Ramadan, eagerly anticipated by the Muslim faithful when acts of worship gets to its peak. Islamic scholars Sheikh Kabir Adam and Tajuddin Adigun explained that it is due to its peculiarity as stated in the Quran, which was revealed in the month of Ramadan.
Allah made mention that we have revealed the Quran in the night of Laylatul Qadr, which is night of majesty, night of power.
Rasulullah has confirmed in the sound hadith that seek for Laylatul Qadr in the last 10 days of Ramadan. In fact, he also said that seek for it in the odd nights.
In the search for the night of majesty within the last 10 nights, Muslims are enjoined to perform itikaf, seclusion in the mosques, a tradition of Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessing of Allah upon him.
Muslims should endeavor, those who have the means, male and female, should go and do itikaf. And that is circulation, staying in the mosque, camping yourself for good 10 days in the mosque. You drink there, you eat there, you spend the whole night there, so that you are closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Women who are in their menstruation can wake up and offer supplications so that they can be accommodated in the ship of night of majesty. Children, their parents can wake them up and do the prayer together with them.
While intensifying midnight prayers, recitation of the Quran, supplication and other acts of worship are highly recommended by the scholars. Little wonder scholars maintain no one should be left out. In Abuja, Hakimat Ali, NTA News.
Shehu of Borno, Abubakar Ibn Umar Garba Al-Amin El-Kanami has lauded the management and board of the University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital for according priority attention to improving the healthcare needs of people of the state and beyond. The royal father disclosed this when he paid a visit on the tertiary health institution and inspected some of the modern health facilities for diagnosis, treatment and research. Ijapari Joseph reports.
Shehu Abubakar Ibn Umar Garbe Al-Amin El-Kanami is the first Shehu that visited the establishment since its commissioning in 1983. While receiving the Shehu, Chief Medical Director, University of Maiduguri Teaching Hospital, UMTH, Professor Ahmed Ahija, expressed delight for the visit and assured that the hospital will continue to provide effective and efficient healthcare services.
We will ever remain grateful to you for all the support that you have been given this hospital, and in particular my own administration as a CMD of this hospital.
The royal father, while being conducted rounds of facilities in the hospital by the management, commended the hospital for many new development and facilities, saying the hospital's facilities can also compete with outside countries.
I commend God, CMD. I wish you all the best, Allah's guidance and protection.
He thanked Governor Babagana Umar Zulum for his support to UMTH and other hospitals in the state. In Maiduguri, Japari Joseph, NTA News.
The Arewa New Agenda has called for more social cohesion and unity to ensure peace is sustained in the country. This was echoed at a media briefing in Abuja, where the group dwelled on a recent statement by the Department of State Services, which identified plots to install an interim government amidst violent protests. The Arewa New Nigeria says forestalling the inauguration of the President-elect Bola Ahmed Tinubu will only cause harm, says any flaw of the election is one capable of legal redress in courts.
Disputes over election results and made robust and adequate provisions for aggrieved parties to ventilate their grievances over election outcomes in court. Aggrieved politicians who have taken their grievances to court or are preparing to do so are following the laudable constitutional path of ventilating grievances. Those seeking to disrupt the constitutional order and transitions schedule as alleged by the DSS are enemies of public good, toeing the path of conflict.
The group further called on Nigerians to support the authorities and security apparatus to rid the country of elements willing to truncate Nigeria's democracy and development. Now, in view of emerging trans-border crimes and the need for regular military diplomacy, the Nigerian Army is developing the skills of its personnel on protocol and liaison duties. This capacity building, organized by the Department of Special Services and Program, is focused at enhancing the Nigerian Army protocol and liaison capability for efficient service delivery.
The increase in military-to-military bilateral contacts and engagement with friendly allies all over the world calls for better understanding of protocol functions in support of our strategic engagement. The current security environment is dynamic and characterized by uncertainty and complexity, which requires increased liaison with stakeholders at all levels.
The theme of this workshop, which is enhancing the NA protocol and liaison capacity for efficient service delivery, was carefully selected to achieve the desired objective. It is envisaged that this workshop will simulate discussion on protocol and liaison issues in the NA that will provide the basis for policy and procedural responses.
Current dynamic security environment requires regular interface with local and foreign agencies. Experts at the event advocates establishment of a unit at the Defense Headquarters to coordinate and harmonize the various services protocol and liaison issues. Let's now take a look at the happenings in the world of sports.
Nigeria Cricket Federation is set to host its national under-17 championship finals at the Moshood Abiola National Stadium Cricket Oval in Abuja, with 6 of the best teams from geopolitical zones of the country in contests. The championship, which holds from 12th to 14th April, is in line with cricket development at the grassroots and talent discovery for the country.
The umpires that are invited to officiate in this tournament are also developing umpires, upcoming umpires that one day will be recognized worldwide.
The Nigeria under-19 team will be preparing to seek qualification in the World Cup, and this event taking place at this time is a noble pathway for us to achieving a formidable team that can conquer Africa.
In football, Premier League champions Manchester City insists the job is far from being done after a 3-0 first leg victory over Bayern Munich in the first leg quarter-final of the UEFA Champions League. The elite club competition is the only piece of silverware missing in the Citizens Trophy cabinet as Pep Guardiola's quest for a third UEFA Champions League title as a manager continues. In Wednesday's fixtures, defending champions Real Madrid are up against Chelsea, while at San Siro, 7-time winners AC Milan take on Napoli, with Super Eagles striker Victor Osimhen expected to miss the game. In another development from Indonesia, 2 football teams played for the first time in 6 months after 135 people died in a crash following a match between Arema FC and Persebaya Surabaya at Arema's Kanjuruhan Stadium. The match, played without spectators at the National Police Park, ended 1-0 in favor of Arema. With sports updates, Ayodeji, Makinde, NTA News.
And that's nationwide for today. But before we go, remember, the National Population Census is 21 days to go. You count, be counted. Thanks for watching. I am Ifoma Wajinta.